Welcome, Theoklis. I'm going to make you some Ikarian tea.
Thank you.
So, welcome to my kitchen. I think the last time I saw you was on Ikaria. I was interested in talking to you today because I know you've done a lot of work in the area of the human biome as a doctor, and did an interesting study in Ikaria. And in sort of thinking about the whole subject of the flavors of longevity, there are so many different aspects of that, and one of them obviously is gut health. So I guess my first question as a non-scientist is, why is gut health so important, and why is it suddenly this big subject?
Great question.
Okay.
So gut health depends on the microbiome. So let's define what the microbiome is. It's the milieu of bacteria that live in our guts.
Okay.
And what many people don't realize is we are more, as a human body, more bacteria than human cells.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
So many more bacteria just in our guts than there are in our whole rest of our body.
Okay.
So we're actually one big bacteria if you think about it.
Okay.
These bacteria that live in the gut make up the microbiome, which is sort of the normal bacterial milieu mix that's in human beings, in their gut. That milieu, it's amazing what we've discovered in the last 20 or 30 years about the microbiome and its relationship to our daily health. So let's start taking this apart. Digestion.
Okay.
Gut health, the bugs, the bacteria in our guts are responsible for the digestive processes, meaning which nutrients are extracted from the foods we eat, how effective those nutrients are extracted, how they're metabolized. The impact on digestion of the microbiome is very significant. And things that impact the microbiome, which we'll talk about, I think, in a little while, impact how we metabolize and digest foods. Second, the immune system. So are the bacteria that are in our guts, our gut is the biggest immune organ in our bodies. So we think of lymph nodes and our blood because it has immune cells. The gut is the biggest single immune organ in our bodies. And what do our bacteria, the normal bacteria, do is they train our immune system. They train our immune system to keep a balance. So when you change that balance by changing the microbiome, you predispose us to conditions that are related to a poor immune system or a dysregulated, where the immune system may fight our own bodies. And the microbiome is responsible for keeping that balance.
Okay, that's really interesting. And that all happens essentially by diet. Like the whole notion of let food be thy medicine is absolutely spot on.
Diet is probably one of the major factors in your microbiome. Things we do or take other than foods, like medicines, may impact our microbiome as well.
Okay.
Anything that can change that balance can affect our health. So one specific drug or medication is antibiotics. Right. Antibiotics kill bacteria. So when they kill bacteria, they change that balance between what we call in the microbiome the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. And if you allow the bad bacteria to predominate, it alters that balance and then alters our health. And there are many other drugs that can alter the microbiome.
So why is this suddenly, why is the whole idea of, gut health suddenly, it's sort of like a fashionable term now? I mean, I'm not a scientist, I've heard about gut health. Mm-hmm. So, is there research out there that's been new? Is there some, is it related to how our diet has changed, especially in more Western industrialized countries? I mean, the diet's changed here in Greece. I mean, we're both from Ikaria. We know that the diet has changed. We just look at people and see that they, they're chubbier, they're not moving as much, whatever. So things have definitely changed. But why is this such a hot topic now?
I think one is that we now have the technology to study the microbiome. So if you think about how many millions of bacteria and different types of bacteria are in the microbiome, the technology was needed to be able to tease this apart and study it. And I think the last 20 years, with the advent of our ability to pick up genes and do genomic analyses and things like this, have led to scientists saying, we can actually explore these relationships now.
Okay.
Clearly, the changes in Western culture and Western diet, the explosion of obesity, have led people to think about how is gut health related to some of these issues. And we know in mice that are fed antibiotics, they get fat.
Oh, really?
Yes. And,
wow, that's
and
amazing.
It's very well known that the microbiome has what we call obesogenic potential, that it can lead to obesity. Changes in the microbiome can lead to obesity. And actually, you probably it's now 10 years. It was like the lead story on the news, in the Times, on NPR, etc., saying, is that the cause of obesity? Clearly, it's not singular cause of obesity,
right?
But it is the microbiome and the balance is. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Has the potential to contribute to obesity. What's very interesting is this mind-gut relationship, the relationship between what's in our guts and the food we put in and the microbiome and our brains. And that's an area that's been exploding lately, that mental illnesses, schizophrenia, may be related to this dysregulation of the immune system.
Really?
Yeah. There's so many things now that are coming out around how this affects our health in totality.
What sorts of foods should we be eating? What sorts of foods should we not be eating? And where do things like probiotic foods come into this? We have a lot of naturally probiotic foods in our own, in the Greek kitchen, in Ikaria. I mean, the things that people still do preserving, and the olives, and the sort of goat's milk cheeses, yogurt, whatever. So, what sorts of foods wreak havoc on our biome, and what sorts of foods are good for it?
Clearly, processed foods are probably not good for our microbiome. And I think as a general principle, healthier eating across the board is related to improved health, right? I think that's well established, and you as a chef or cook know that healthier eating. If we try to link it directly to Ikaria is an island that's known to be a blue zone. Blue zones are these 5 or 6 places in the world that are known to have statistically higher number of 90-year-olds and older people associated with longevity. And there are many studies that have looked at the foods that Ikarians eat as they relate to this issue of longevity. And there's an article in a very top-notch scientific journal about Ikarian honey.
Right.
They've talked about Ikarian wine and Ikarian coffee and the herbal teas that you just made.
The herbal teas, I know for sure.
That are picked off the...
Those aren't probiotic foods though, right? Those aren't, probiotic is basically fermented, right?
Correct, but I think the term probiotic means anything that sort of supports the healthier microbiome.
Okay.
So in some way, these foods are probiotics because they promote a healthier microbiome. You can also do that by eating foods that have fermented bacteria, the yogurts, etc., where you're actually ingesting the bacteria that lead to the balance that's necessary. But healthier foods and healthier eating keeps that balance in the microbiome.
What's your diet like on a daily? Are you aware, because you're so aware of all of this, do you practice what you preach?
I have to admit that I did not up until probably a year ago.
You've definitely slimmed down, actually, since I first met you.
Thank you. And I didn't go to a nutritionist or anything. I just decided to make some common sense changes in my diet to eat healthier. So no red meat, a lot more vegetables, a lot more fruits, a lot more yogurt, no processed foods, almost no processed foods in my diet. And the weight went away. Didn't do much of anything else, just altered how I ate and what I ate.
Yeah, likewise. I've shed like 20
kilos.
Yeah,
you look fantastic.
I've shed a lot of weight. Same thing. No diet, I just changed my eating habits.
And walking, actually, I apologize, one of the reasons I was late for today's meeting with you is I walked 3.6 kilometers to get here.
Oh, okay, good for
and
you.
I just incorporate that type of activity into my day.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, me too.
If we try to link that to longevity and Ikaria, people walk a lot.
Yes, they did. They did.
I don't know whether that will,
And what about, I know that you've done this study on the biome of older Ikarians and young Ikarians, sort of older people and kids, and then the same age groups you studied from, you did a comparative study from a different island, from Astypalea, if I remember correctly, another isolated Greek island. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we were curious as to whether the microbiome somehow is related to aging and longevity. And there are a number of scientific studies now that have tried to identify it as a factor that leads to healthier living and longer lives. So we decided to investigate this in Ikaria, and we took a group of children through ages 3 to 5 and a group of 90-year-old Ikarians, the ones that are featured in all the Ikarian Blue Zone films.
The rock stars.
The rock stars of longevity, yeah.
The rocking chair stars. The rocking chair stars.
The problem, they're not actually rocking chairs. They're
I know.
Running around.
They move a lot. I know.
And we compared it to another island that had similar characteristics, sort of isolated, rocky, rely a lot of farming and natural foods. And what we found is that in the microbiome of the children on the 2 islands, there were no differences. The microbiomes were similar. The microbiomes of the 90-year-olds were different. The 90-year-olds on Ikaria had healthier microbiomes, more of the healthier bacteria, better balance in their microbiomes. Now, the question that I can't answer is there a cause and effect? Is that microbiome related to their longevity, or are they living longer and therefore have healthier microbiomes? But clearly, these people who are 90 have different microbiomes on Ikaria than 90-year-olds on another island that has similar characteristics.
I see.
Just to get back to something you mentioned earlier about probiotics. Probiotics are helpful, but one of the things that we've seen in using probiotics is that it's hard to mimic nature. That the balance between external probiotics and an attempt to repopulate the gut is difficult. Because usually what we put in probiotics, there are several strains of bacteria. And if you think about the number of strains in the gut, there's thousands. So it's sort of like a drop in the ocean when you take 1 or 2 strains. But they're helpful. I just want to...
But are you talking about taking probiotic capsules?
Or even probiotics in foods. The lactobacillus that's in yogurts is one species.
Right, I see.
So the balance relies on the diversity. And something very fascinating from sort of the medical side. The ultimate probiotic, and I apologize, we're sitting in the kitchen, is poop. So in medicine, they're now using what's called stool transplants. So they take a stool from, and the reason I say this is because how you give the ultimate probiotic, you take stool from healthy people and put it into the guts of sick people, and it makes them healthy.
Really?
Yes. So that's a proof of that replacing the microbiome with a healthy microbiome prevents certain infections and certain diseases.
So I actually wanted to ask you about that. Like, can you, if you have an unhealthy microbiome, can you fix that by eating properly? But you're telling me that there's a faster way to do it.
No, I mean, that's in extreme situations that you do those kinds of procedures.
Right.
But there are now companies that are making
poop pills?
Poop pills, yes. And all this is just to say that the microbiome is complicated, but is clearly related to our health.
First of all, how do you test your gut health?
There are laboratories that do your microbiome analysis.
And they do that by studying your poop.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we did in Ikaria. We collected
I remember
poop
that.
from
and
the
we've got a lot of funny responses from those 90-year-olds who have a good sense of humor. I remember that. But if you have an unhealthy gut, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to stop taking the antibiotics that the doctor prescribed to me, whatever, or you stop taking whatever, and you completely change your diet so that you are eating in accordance with the rules of good health and all that. A, is it possible to change it? B, how long does that take? I guess that's it, A and B.
Yes, it's possible to change it. It's not a tomorrow morning type of thing that if I drink your herbal tea, my microbiome will get better tomorrow, but I'm sure it will affect my microbiome over time. And it does. It takes probably several months. And we know that from taking antibiotics. After you take antibiotics and you negatively affect your microbiome, it takes probably a couple of months for it to come back to
I
where
see.
it was.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And it's a pitch for us not to use antibiotics inappropriately, which as a society we do a lot of.
In every aspect of raising meat
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, all fish, all sorts of things, like the farm, you know.
So you asked earlier about what diseases may be related to
Yeah,
the
like, I know just for myself that, for example, I always do the Easter fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I do it, you know, for the full time. I don't eat dairy. I'm generally not a big meat eater. I like, you know, an occasional piece of a good steak on occasion. But I noticed that any joint pain I may have as a result of my advanced age tends to go away and, you know, tends to disappear when I go off certain things like dairy.
Right.
And I guess that's because there's you know, inflammation associated with the consumption of certain foods. But are there signs in your body besides, I'm not talking about extreme cases that, you know, you have really bad gut health and you have cancer or something like that. But I'm talking more about in our everyday lives, you know, do you notice the changes if you start eating better? What are the things that you might notice that are indications that you don't have such a healthy gut?
So inflammation in the body in general is probably one of the worst things that we can experience and do to our bodies. And good gut health reduces inflammation. So therefore, some of what you may be feeling, although not instantaneously, is that this balance, your immune system, when it's out of balance, leads to inflammation. That may be inflammation in your gut, it may be inflammation in your joints. Actually, autoimmune diseases, so diseases where your body's immune system fights your body, such as rheumatic diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, have been linked to the microbiome. When I was still at the University of Pennsylvania and the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, we conducted a study in the United Kingdom where we looked at children who got a lot of antibiotics as children and whether they had certain autoimmune conditions where the body fight. And kids who took antibiotics in their younger years had an increased risk of having inflammatory bowel disease.
Huh.
And the more antibiotics they took, the higher the risk. And that all is operating by, they changed their microbiome probably at a critical stage where their immune system was growing and developing and affected it negatively down the line.
That's incredible. So we are what we eat.
We are what we eat, yes.
All right, this was really great.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun to talk about this. Thank you.
And I guess my last question is, can you recommend kind of a basic game plan for a healthy gut?
I think about this in terms of common sense. Reduce your fats in your diet. Eat more vegetables and more fruits. Reduce the processed foods, high saturated fats, salt. Salt is actually a very big problem.
Is that true? I love salt.
I know you do. all Greeks love salt. They have the Greeks the shaker, and a lot of sweets and desserts as well. Reduce the number of sweets and desserts, especially bready type of desserts. I think it's common sense in some ways, although it may not be for many people. But I think those are the principles I think about when asked about diet.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.